I've said it many times, I say it again this morning, that no man is greater than his prayer life. Let me live with a man a while and share his prayer life, and I'll tell you how tall I think he is, or how majestic I think he is in God.
Leonard Ravenhill nasceu em 18 de janeiro de 1907, em Leeds, Yorkshire, Inglaterra. Seus pais eram Thomas e Mary Ravenhill. Converteu-se aos 14 anos, ao perceber que seu pai tinha uma realidade espiritual que lhe faltava.
Costumo dizer que não vim para Jesus como um velho hino inglês que Larry cantava com frequência. Vim para Jesus, pois eu estava cansado e desgastado. Não foi por isso, pois eu tinha apenas 14 anos, e não entendia o zelo do meu pai por Deus. Eu não vim por causa da convicção do pecado, mas por causa dos vazios na minha vida. Meu pai apreciava ler a palavra de Deus, ir a reuniões de oração, até mesmo as que duravam metade da noite, e mais do que tudo gostava de pregar nas esquinas. E você se lembra do hino? A minha fé olha para ti, ó Cordeiro do Calvário. Bem, a última estrofe diz: que tua rica graça conceda força ao meu cansado coração. Meu zelo inspira. E meu pai tinha um zelo inspirador.
Ravenhill não perdeu tempo. Após sua conversão, entregou-se de corpo e alma ao ministério.
He was engaged in evangelism, personal witness, serious prayer meetings. They were in holiness groups. They were kind of pre-Nazarene groups, but they weren't charismatic. They didn't speak in tongues. They were just serious-minded people who pursued the Lord and prayed fervently. They were called the Holiness Trekkers. And they actually, full-time, walked the length and breadth of England. They walked across England lengthwise and widthwise more than once, pushing a cart with a tent that they would erect, and people would come in for preaching in the tent at night. And they carried a small, backpack, each of them. There would be 5 to 8 men on a team. And they would go into a town, plan on staying 2 or 3 weeks. And sometimes it became 2 or 3 months because their preaching really had a high impact on the local areas, all over the north of England and in Wales as well. So Leonard began to be a trekking evangelist from 1931 when he was 24 years old, and he did that ministry throughout the 1930s into the 1940s. He was known as a powerful evangelist, fiery, passionate, courageous, fearless.
There's no concern. There has to come an awakening in the church to the peril. Those loved ones of yours at the end of the table, they don't go to church. No, they're going to hell. Why don't you say it? The only time you can say Christ is all I need is when Christ is all you have.
Leonard Ravenhill era o tipo de homem que costumava pregar apenas uma vez em igrejas onde era convidado. Não por falta de compromisso, mas devido à forte exortação de sua mensagem que escandalizava cristãos menos vigorosos na fé.
You say sometimes, I wonder God doesn't burden me. Do you know why? Because He can't trust you, that's why. You're not strong enough to carry the burden. A lot of you here this morning, you don't need more light. This will only make it worse for you at the judgment. What you need is more obedience. Some of you have known for years what you should do, and you hold back. Do you remember some of those awesome words Jesus said to the disciples? I've many things to tell you, but you cannot bear them. I say reverently, Almighty God, don't say that to me at the judgment seat. Don't let me stand before John Wesley and Finney and all the great saints of the ages and say, Ravenhill, I had many things to tell you. You're so preoccupied with this or preoccupied. I couldn't get through to you. And if I could, you weren't mature enough to handle this inside eternity. I believe every one of us will have wished that we'd sacrificed more, prayed more, loved more, sweated more, grieved more, wept more.
Contudo, Ravenhill influenciou grandes homens, com sua postura firme e direta, dentre eles, Paul Washer.
Worst thing ever happened to a preacher is he becomes civilized. It's worthless. Worthless. One thing I noticed about Leonard Ravenhill, and I'd take a Leonard Ravenhill over 20 dead Calvinists. One thing I noticed about Leonard Ravenhill, he was dangerous. He was dangerous.
Ravenhill pregava a suficiência das Escrituras, o arrependimento genuíno, e que sem a santificação era impossível agradar a Deus. Mesmo que em sua época a tecnologia não fosse assim tão presente como é hoje, Ravenhill já alertava sobre os perigos do entretenimento e os declarava como inimigos mortais para a alma de um cristão.
And because there isn't enough joy in the house of God, we need entertainment. Because entertainment is the devil's substitute for joy.
Havia duas temáticas que permearam fortemente sua pregação, e isso durante todo o seu ministério: avivamento e oração. Ravenhill estudava diariamente as Escrituras, além de ser um leitor assíduo de bons livros cristãos. Contudo, existem fontes muito confiáveis que afirmam que ele passava mais tempo em oração do que fazendo qualquer outra coisa enquanto estava acordado.
His personal discipline of how he lived his life daily. He didn't waste time. You know, he probably prayed at least 6 hours a day. He was the only man I ever knew that probably prayed more than he studied every day. And so he probably studied and prayed at least 12, 14 hours a day, every day, except the Lord's Day.
Apesar de cultivar diariamente uma vida de estudos, Ravenhill sabia que o mero conhecimento de Deus não era suficiente para salvar, ou como ele mesmo dizia, não importa o quanto você já leu sobre Deus ou diz conhecer sobre Ele, e sim se você é conhecido por Ele.
You know, the nitty-gritty of the whole thing is this: we don't know God. We don't know God. We know theology, we know about Him. Why did Jesus come into the world? To save sinners. That's not what Jesus said. What did Jesus say? I'm come that they may know Thee. Every man that comes in my office, and I get them worldwide, I don't know why, but they come. And I say, first tell me, do you know God? Well, I have a degree. I didn't ask you about that. Do you know God? When was your last encounter with God? When were you last prostrate in His presence? When did you last sit spellbound at His majesty? You don't know God.
O ministério de Ravenhill foi marcado por uma mensagem urgente. A igreja precisava despertar de sua apatia e buscar um avivamento genuíno, não como um evento passageiro, mas como uma renovação profunda e duradoura do Espírito Santo. Ravenhill repudiava cristãos que buscavam insistentemente benefícios, pois acreditava que a essência do Evangelho era justamente o oposto, o sacrifício. Chegou a declarar em uma de suas pregações que Deus trará à tona não apenas as nossas obras, mas todas as intenções ocultas do coração, e muitos ministérios grandiosos irão ruir diante de Deus naquele grande e terrível dia.
It's going to be an awesome day. You see, there's no possibility of any rehearsal. And what? There's no possibility of any repetition. Because again, this is the final judgment. I think again of a statement Dr. Tozer made to me once. He said, Len, you know what? He said, we'll hardly get our feet out of time into eternity and gaze on eternity before we bow our heads in shame and humiliation and say, my God, look at all the riches there were in Jesus Christ, and I've come to the judgment seat almost a pauper. Master, forgive and inspire us anew. Banish our worldliness. Help us to ever live with eternity's values in view. Said that great man who birthed that revival, God, stamp eternity on my eyeballs.
Ravenhill faleceu em 27 de novembro de 1994. Em sua lápide está escrito: as coisas pelas quais você tem vivido valem a morte de Cristo?